What is up, guys? Got a fun deck for you today. Today's deck is a spy themed one. These decks are always really cool. Was really looking forward to playing this one. Now, the one downside here is I finally caved in and I played Masquerade Ball. Just destroyed my morals and my soul. Look, I know the card is trash now. It's been severely power crap, but I'm just still so salty from all those years ago with Double Ball. So, yeah. But finally caved in and played it. That's what my previous video was about, just having some fun with that, referencing a really old video, which maybe a couple of you guys will know about. But onto the deck here, this was inspired by Shinmiri, so credit to him. This is heavily based around his. There's two changes, because he's playing Kalak, or however you say it, the guy who purifies on a row. It's a terrible card, absolute trash. So I dropped him and one of the Fangs, and then so instead of a 6 and 4, I played 2 5s. I did the Impera Forcers with it because those cards are right at home in here. They've gotten some slight buffs and stuff, and can just absolutely pop off along with all the other stuffs we have going on. It's not as quiet like, you know, Golden Neck or Reaver's Engine Overload, but there is a lot of things to answer in this deck, and so it's nice instead of just kind of having a Purify card that is going to be trash 90 times out of 100. We're going to play a card that's always going to be, you know, fairly relevant and kind of requiring an answer. So that's a big change, but again, credit to him for that, so definitely go check that out. Matchup right here, we're going up against Reavers. Or at least I would imagine so. I've deranked a lot. When you get into lower ranks, you know, you kind of get some more interesting variety because people don't always have all the cards they can do to build the decks they want. Like you can already see here, like this is not your typical Reaver deck, if it is Reavers. That unicorn combo really hurts us. So we'll see what we're into, but I imagine it's Reavers here, and so that's kind of why I'm starting out strong. I want to get rolling. Because with Reavers, you do not want to let them get an easy round 1 and then take you into a long round 2, because they're probably going to 2-0 you. Because they get to go first, which engines want, and then they've got 10 cards, you know, 10 card round, which they can just absolutely set up all their engines and get insane value from them. So that kind of explains why I was hitting it hard. Also, I think, I don't know about that, with that verification.
I warned you.
I don't know about that. I don't think that card is threatening enough to warrant giving me 6 points. He also hasn't played a Mutagenerator, which is good for us, because that is a very scary card. Like, if Reavers get Mutagenerator down, they get carryover and they win round 1, especially Golden Necker version, I do not think you are winning that matchup. I can't think of very many decks that can win that matchup. This guy's just slamming golds left, right, and center.
A problem nests on discreetly.
I know we're playing a Spies deck, and I might have to discuss this later, but I legitimately think that Golden Necker Reavers deck is the strongest deck I have ever played. I barely even have to think about it. If I win round 1, like, it's over. You just shell out so many engines, it's unreal. But if you lose round 1, it gets interesting, and so that's kind of the trade-off. But if you get round control, I think I'm borderline undefeated with Reavers, Golden Necker Reavers, if I win round 1. It's insane. But to talk about this actual deck here, a really cool thing here with Combat Engineers getting, where they give charges now instead of that weird artifact thing. Rot Tossers are pretty strong, and they have a lot of useful stuff. So because the cows going over there have status and spine, they're going to combo well with your seditious aristocrats and thirsty dames, because when you swan them over, you're already getting procs on your side, and then with giving poison, extra stuff for your thirsty dames. So really sweet card. And then also Imperative Forcers, like, it's triggering them as well. Like, just really, when you get all your pieces on the board and then you start having the spine things going over with like Fergus, Rot Tossers, etc., You know, even playing like Joachim with Ku and all that, your points are just gonna skyrocket through the roof. One thing that hurts it, a lot of it sometimes, unless you're saving up charges or whatever, you're not gonna have a whole lot of immediate removal, which can hurt you in some regards, but you get the pieces in place, you can definitely board wipe. I really don't know what this deck is doing though. I don't know why he has Defender, like why he played it with these cards. You know? I can see running Defender in a Reaver's deck. I personally wouldn't, but I could see it, but with what he's been sequencing, that's just kind of like worthless. Also, look how many statuses we have on Donamir, that's crazy. Ah, there's the Reavers.
Let's go.
Another thing, the leader on this one is very strong. It can be a lot of points, you get a little bit of control. And then also with like the aristocrat thing, where if you have 4 aristocrats or something like that, or it's gonna boost. I kind of forget exactly what it was, because it kind of goes under the radar, but you know, point here and there is not bad. I'm going to take the pass because I don't want to play 4 out of the 5 cards. So if I were to play Maginal to try and push out one more, it's likely I would, but I'd also rather just save the cards, and I don't want to risk him actually passing on us, and he's getting some passive points, whereas I'm not. Another trick, make sure with Amir, you're paying attention to being able to play off of him. See, I'm highlighting it there. Because I've had that sometimes where Amir, you just don't get to play something because I don't have an aristocrat or a soldier. So just do pay attention to that. It can hurt. Okay, he dry passes us. I think that is a throw. With engine decks, you want to go first. And now he's kind of putting the ball in my court for that. And if we can control his Reavers, we're in a really good spot. My golds are going to be way better than his, so if we shut off his good bronze card, we're set. Also, even another one, Usurper over there, when he puts the 2 operators over, talking about points. Board space is an issue with this deck, I will note that. You might want to be hesitant about long round, like a long round 3, 10 card. You can bleed a bit to kind of shorten it a bit, because you very easily can fill up your side of the board with like Usurper, Amir stealing stuff, Ku, things like that, all putting extra units on your side, the leader. Scenario 2, you know, because that's spawning 3 extra bodies. Just be very, very mindful of that. Alright, there's Muta Generator. We're gonna get our Impera forces down because Amir giving spine to everybody, just gonna feed them a lot of charges. Got a lot of armor here too, so if he goes straight into Reavers, we won't be losing any points. Okay.
I prefer to create my own company.
Idorant, man, I hope with Gwentfinity, the community actually nerfs him. He needs to like be like 5 power, 9 provisions. With some of these like super greedy decks that were very problematic, like Reavers is one of them. Some of the relic stuff where they were spawning all the Gurnichora's fruit or whatever that is. It was Idorant that like catapulted those decks to like unreal, because if he went unanswered, the ceiling just skyrocketed. The greed with this card is unreal. Now stealing Idorant here is a little risky because I was talking about board space, so that might turn around to bite us. But we'll go ahead and take it. Wouldn't be surprised if he's able to delete it. But we answered one of the scariest things. But yeah, the fact Idorant is 6 power and 8 provisions is a joke. And like, I get it. When you kind of view it from the thing that he's only spawning 1 power bodies, you know, for an 8 provision card, what you're probably wanting at least 10 to 12 points, probably more. And so he's going to take a bit to get to that. But the ceiling of him is unreal, that I think it's okay if he has a worse floor, and definitely should at least cost more. I have no idea how he's only 8 provisions. Notice how when we're going to put spine units over there, we're going to put it on the front row because we're going to try and clog it up. Ooh, we got a good hit from that. We can lock. And honestly, something to consider would be go ahead and use our leader and pull the other one over. Which we'll go ahead and do. And nothing wrong with deleting one in case he has a purify. I don't know why I decided not to do that. I went ahead and used the mangonel charge. That's kind of weird. But benefit of saving it, we can definitely delete unit in the back and steal it. And get a re-respawn of ourselves, you know, good old NG. Playing your deck better than you can and getting rewarded for it because assimilate procs and everything for whatever reason. It's just stupid to me, like, it should only be like when you play a card of your opponent's faction. It shouldn't just be create in general. You know, like with Stefan, how his daggers or whatever, not daggers, like throwing stars. I don't know the actual term. But how those, yeah, I hit the wrong one. He didn't have spine, so I can't steal it. But how those proc assimilate. Like, that's why that assimilate tactics deck is just so scary. Because, you know, if you have assimilate cards in and you also have, like, Fire Scorpions and Hefty Helga, like, when he spawns the 3 to 4 of them, whichever kind of your tactic count is, it's a bazillion points, because just the synergies are insane. Anyways, I digress. Looking like a win here. It's also looking like we won't be able to play all our cards. Ball is probably just going to have to stay in my hand, which, you know, I'm all for that. Not playing that card is great. Because it's just going to spawn too many cards.
Oh dear.
Go and get Thirsty Dame now. It's not going to be too great, but it'll go ahead and get some engine value. With the statuses going in. Dooney would be a consideration. Instead of Thirsty Dame right then and there. Also, yeah, that was a nice little rework to him. Good job balancing team on that. Because he was always just a weird card. The only place he kind of really had was like the unitless Nilfgaard decks, but those like completely disappeared and were never amazing to begin with. So at least he's got some synergies now. And overall, as we head towards the final days of official GWENT support, I think they've made some nice choices. Granted, they still do the weird stuff of like introducing broken cards. It's just like, you guys clearly did not playtest this, or you just want it to be broken, which honestly is what I think what it is. They just want cards to kind of shape or put focus on or bring attention to certain archetypes, decks, whatever. You know, especially with new cards, so people try and spend money and play it. So I think that's what a lot of it is. Go ahead and still here. I think we're up so far ahead that it'll just be better than playing the other two. Let's go and clog up our side. But regardless of that, I think they've actually made some really great changes and getting GWENT towards a pretty decent balanced state where when GWENT Fitting comes around, hopefully the community... Now, it's probably going to be an absolute mess, you know, making cards like that shouldn't be broken and stuff, but we'll see. Alright, well that was an easy win against Reavers, absolutely destroyed him. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, Cultist probably.
Tuck tail and beg for mercy.
We'll see. Also, to finish what I was saying, where if they can get abilities set up pretty nice, hopefully the community can handle all the other kind of base stuff where just like power provisions can handle it. But we really need them to handle the ability side since we can't touch that. 2 combat engineers is nice because we get some carryover. Or just use in this round. Just kind of fishing for golds here. I want to save the mangonels for later. This deck is kind of a bad blue coin deck. Because you have so many synergies and combos, you really want to save them for like bleeding round 2 or surviving a bleed round 2, or obviously round 3, because that's where, you know, you have no choice. It's either win or lose.
Yes.
So this deck can be a little bit, you know, play a couple combat engineers and try and like pass at 7 and hopefully keep your card type of deal. Again, you can also, like Philippe, I'll sometimes go round 1 with him if I really think I need to, because it's also pulling out that artifact. I forget the name of it, like Ardfane or whatever. That great graphical bug here. Seeing that card's also a little scary. It's like, are we going up against Mill here? We don't thin too much, so not too scared. Also, just Masquerade Ball. That can just carry you through a round. So, you know, you go up against Reavers, Cultists, anything like that. It's not a bad thing. Just go ahead and slap down Paul if you have the Aristocrats and try and use that to push you through, type of deal. Or, you know, on the flip side, if you're red coin and you want to fight for it, Ball can be very scary for a blue coin. Because all of a sudden you get that poison off. They can lose quite a few points, especially if they, you know, tactical advantage something. Got him to burn leader charge. Very nice. We have a lot of engines and stuff we want to go through, and so if he's wasting on something like a Rot Tosser, we don't care. It is kind of leaning more towards like a mill thing here though, with Mata and the Courier. Nope, we got the infusion, so it is Cultist. Plus, I still have, I guess, a little bit more like old school mentality with some of these round 1s. It seems like nowadays it's like basically just bloodbath round 1. I still kind of have a little bit more of the mentality like reserve as much as possible, except in certain situations like Reavers being one type of deal. Or Cultists in this situation, whereas Scenario would really help me take this round and not lose on even. But yeah, and it still works out, like, especially when I'm like D-rank because I haven't played in a month or whatever, or honestly a few months, and I come back in lower ranks, like, your opponent, they just hate you with so many golds, and so if you just get out of the round, especially when they're on blue coin and you're on red, but you just get out of the round maybe only playing 1 gold and mostly bronzes, like, they're just gonna run out of steam, where, you know, they'll only have like 5-6 golds left, and you go to round 3 and you have a hand of 10 golds. Like, you're just gonna absolutely stomp them later on. So I know it's a little bit more complicated than that, but and granted, this also changes when you get up to like top 3 ranks and pro rank and stuff, but I just do think at lower ranks people throw way too much in there. But versus Cultist, they take the round, and you're fighting to the death against, what is it, the Initiates and their Scenario. Like, good luck. That's probably a 2-0. But see, in this situation where we have round control, now it doesn't matter if they're up by 40 points, as long as we have the slightest amount of reach and we don't push our luck too hard where they dry pass us, we're golden. And then we'll just go into a round 3 and they probably won't have anything left. Might just be an Amir start here. He'll lock it, but in the chance he doesn't, we'll really get engines flying out like crazy. Plus, unless he's got a lock in hand, you know, he can only lock one of the 2 engines that we're going to play. So one's going to get through. Next round, we've got another engine down. This is also just baiting. Baiting to see if he'll lock it, I guess, and then try and play the Amir later. But I honestly think just go for Amir because I don't think he's sticking anyways. And that's one thing, kind of with what I was discussing a minute ago, the what's the most important round? You know, part of it's round 3 because right? Like that's it, you win or lose. But round 3 necessarily won't happen, right? You know, you're only guaranteed rounds 1 and 2. 3 is optional. And so is 2, you know, the most important one, because the person who has, you know, control, who has round control, are they dry passing? Like they're dictating the pace of it, and it's kind of put out in round 2. Are they bleeding? Like is that the last round? And then you go to round 1, and that just determines so much of the game. Who has round control? Are they set up for, you know, a 2-0? And then also, did like one person overcommit? Did they play way too many golds and the other person only played like 4 provision bronzes type of deal? That can also just already determine the game, because the other person's out. They're just not going to have points. So probably leaning towards round 1. And with that, you know, it makes sense. That's why people go so hard into it. I feel so many people overcommit. Now there's a scenario. This could almost have been a pass. But regardless, I think we just keep playing and get everything from him. We have like Usurper, Joachim, Leader, and stuff. Like all of that's just going to be very great in a short round. And so also what I did here was smart. I waited till he had something on there, so when I play Amir and Impera, I can already get instant value from it. So I can see that line. It's also really great when you get the agent and the aristocrat thing, like seditious aristocrats, for your artifact there. Good little combo. And when we're seeing at the top 2 here, we are guaranteed Usurper, so that's nice. There would be consideration, because we're probably going to be proccing our artifact here so much. Just go ahead and cycle Usurper down to the bottom, because it will, you know, slowly start coming back up as we cycle more and more cards. Because against Nilfgaard, it's not always the smartest to leave a high value card on top of your deck, in case like a Vilgefortz or something. Cantarella or whatever. So that's a little risky here, leaving Usurper on top. But see, like, normally you'd be kind of scared about all this cultist stuff popping off, but I mean, we're bleeding here, so I'm just basically trying to almost value bleed. Like, we're not 2-0ing here. We're just trying to make sure he has a terrible short round. And when you're value bleeding, just make sure you have reach, because I've had people value bleeding me, and I'm up by like 40 points, still getting like 4 to 5 passive points per turn. They'll play another card, and you just pass on them because you know they can't get it. And some of them just go ahead and try and do it, and you win right there. Or, you know, you've got an extra card now. Honestly, 2 card advantage, because usually when someone's bleeding you, they're down a card. So just be mindful of that. See, right here I should put Usurper down. That, I would say, is a mistake. Don't really know what I was thinking there. I just really wanted to guarantee Usurper because I knew it was going to be a shorter round. I mean, all things considered, though, I mean, we're ready to be up again, so we're rolling here. Yeah, get rid of that in case you purify it. Well, if he purifies, it loses the infusion. I guess we're up, but not insanely up, because he plays anything, he goes right back in front of us. So really, overall, we're not ahead. Only be ahead if we'd have enough of a gap where he plays a card we still stay. I was considering leader there, because that front row, we take the master ceremonies or whatever, and just a lot of point slam would probably give us a pass. But we can also just keep pushing in the bleed here, and you know, save the leader for a short round. I know Cultist is kind of toxic, but it was at least an interesting idea with all the kind of infusions and the infiltration idea. Man, it just has so many points. And against just some decks, there's nothing they can do to stop it, except win round 1. Back to that discussion. sure everyone's kind of tired of hearing about that. Now the timing here will be, do we pass now? Do we play Thirsty Dame? Do we go and play first coup? Like, how much more can we keep pushing from him? Since we're close enough, it's probably worth to keep playing cards. Hopefully get a good gold from him. Alright, well if he's playing that, we gotta play a card.
From the sky it will descend, death and destruction.
Don't ask a lady her age. It's unbecoming.
Alright, we still have reach here. Especially with leader. Alright, please come on, get something good for him. Let's trade a locked Thirsty Dame for a gold. Fingers crossed. Wow. That's not what you want to see. Why do you hold on to the teleportation for so long? Like, especially when you had locked initiates. I guess just like coup onto a fawn. Not much, but we can definitely do 10 points. Yeah, especially because we should see Usurper with Roderick. Not to mention our leader already getting us over. Yeah, leader would be like, what, 10 points? Though unfortunately with this whole thing with okay, that's good. And that is we're out now. See ya. That point flip when finally the thing that's been infused dies and goes back to the other side and boosts and all that. That's the scary part when coming up against cultists. When they gap you like that. But oh, there's the Vilgefortz. Okay, so we lose the Usurper, kind of what I was talking about earlier. That is not good, that's a little scary. But we got card back. Wait, is he playing another card? What?
Have you ever laid eyes on a
What? Okay, the Vilgefortz I get. It's still a gamble, but it paid off. But why? What's with the other card? Okay, we are guaranteed Joachim. We just hold it here. Because if I mulligan and get Joachim, then Roderick's just dead card. And then we're back to basically even in terms of card count. Kind of wish he wouldn't have thrown that. I don't know what he's doing to see what would have happened. I still believe though he has an extra card, we're fine. But now, if he has, you know, card advantage over us, not just even with us, card advantage, one of those is Vilgefortz. Do we win that one? That'd be the interesting thing.
I warned you.
That we get with Roderick and Joachim, we get them set up right. Magnol's gonna get a lot of points here. Plus, we also have leader. I think leader could also just definitely give it back to us.
Kill the dog diddlers! Barbarians all.
Too bad we didn't have something that would be benefiting from all this spying. So probably could like coup next turn and then leader.
A secret compartment. Delightful.
Oh man, leader's amazing here. Oh, that status. Oh. Yeah, well I guess it doesn't matter because he's down card, so we can just play Maginot and it's not gonna die. Yeah, this is easy win. Alright, cool. Would have liked to see how it would have played out otherwise, but you know, win's a win. And kind of had some good stuff going there, some good strategies. Not too shabby. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.